Hey, good morning. I am just about to start my Archangel Michael Rosary, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about um, tell you a little bit about it before you click off. If you're anything like me, I mean, who I was like 6 months ago when this stuff was first introduced to me, I was like, get away from me with that because of all the stigma. I guess I didn't even realize I had internalized inside of me around um, sp- spiritual or religious jargon, um, and particularly around masculine aspects of God in the form of like the name, even like Archangel Michael and the Jesus Christ, and I was so I had so many blocks. Even though I've worked with Archangel Michael in the past to help me with protecting me around certain aspects of doing ancestral lineage healing, whenever I was doing that about 3 or 4 years ago, and it worked. Archangel Michael is a homie for sure. And even now, I consider him just like one of the pillars of my protectors in my life. And so why am I bringing this up? Why am I talking about this on this beautiful, gorgeous morning? Well, why not? I found myself in this time of my life, I don't know, I mean, a part of me wants to be like, factoring in the transits that I'm dealing with, and just, having this relationship that I've been in bring up the depths of my trauma and my separate selves and my fragmentation in a way that I've just never experienced. I've had a myriad of relationships throughout my life, and they've always been really intense. And I am, in human design, I'm the right angle cross of the vessel of love, version 3. And relationships are like a really imperative, important part of my path of understanding myself and kind of excavating and combing out all of the fragmentation that I've acquired, and for the opportunity to bring it up, like stir up the sediment that's been stuck down there in the bottom of the subconscious, bring it up, stir it up, see all the separate selves, all the holes that the demons are attached to, that keep me in the loops and the cycles, and to deal with them, do with it what I will, either keep enacting the patterns that reinforce them, or to do something different via look at them and attempt to heal them. And so that's what I've been trying to do for the last several years of my life. I think I got to a point, I moved into this house, separated from my son's dad, but that was like a process. That was such an intense process that I didn't really get to see. I wasn't really willing to see myself because I was so traumatized. I felt so activated by that relationship because there is no greater wound that you could poke inside of you than to create life with someone. And then when you do that, you are signing up, unbeknownst to you, whether you're aware of it or not, but you're signing up to get your deepest traumas triggered, you know, when you sign up to create life with someone. And so I had that experience, and I was not prepared. I was 25 when I had my son. I was 24 when I was pregnant. I was not prepared for what was inside of me to come out without the tools yet there. My brain was just starting to fully develop whenever I made a decision. My brain wasn't even fully developed when I made the decision to have my son, you know? And I remember when I turned 25, I could feel my brain start to solidify its prefrontal cortex finally. And yeah, I look back and I just was not prepared. Thankfully though, when I was pregnant, because of the upheaval that I was experiencing, I went into therapy for the first time since I was probably like 18 or 17. And I don't even consider that therapy because I didn't treat it as such. I was so clueless, you know, as a teenager. Like, so yeah. And so I have spent the last several years since I started therapy, which has been almost 6 years at this point, really trying to heal. And in that healing, you know, there's exposure, there's re-exposure. You don't heal in a vacuum by like pushing away all the stimuli that provokes a trigger inside of you. And so I found myself in, you know, relationship with my son's dad and acting and reacting in certain ways from the deepest parts of me that I felt like I couldn't even control. And sometimes even to this day, no one can trigger me like him. And it's nothing that he's necessarily, it's not to put focus on him and to say that I'm a victim. It's just like there's something, like I've gotten to the point now where I feel so proud of myself. Like I don't even, like when I start to feel myself, like literally not even feel like I can control what response is coming out of me, I just hang up the phone. I'm just like, just like, don't do it. And it's great because then I can text and be like, oh, I'm so sad that blah, 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 you know, or I can not feed it. And I just feel so proud of myself because if y'all knew how I used to act, you would not watch my channel. You would not be friends with me. I mean, maybe you would because the redemption and how hard I work to get to this point. But y'all have no idea, like, what I'm capable of, like the shadow. You have not a clue. And that's how it is, right? The brightest light, you know. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven without its roots reaching down to hell. I mean, that's the marker of an fully integrated human being is to not bypass that. And that's what I've been working with. I am a shadow worker. I am a light worker. I am alchemy embodied. And it's very evident in my birth chart as well. I can go into that on a different time because I did mention transits being a huge, I think, part of what I'm dealing with, which I'd be happy to expound upon, but I'm trying to see if maybe that should be a different video. And if you're interested in that, let me know because I can really give it to you. So anyways, back to the healing parts. Yeah, there's just been a lot that I have been navigating in terms of like the fragmentation and the soul retrieval work, and it's been a process. And so coming back to Archangel Michael's Rosary and the Transcendent Toolbox on Kim Michael's website, I've been using these a lot to heal that fragmentation and to come back into wholeness. and to retrieve these parts of me that have been like blown open from trauma and that keep me cycling. This particular time just feels even more so intense, and I'm not really sure as to why, but I think as we raise our level of consciousness and we become more aware of ourselves and how we actually are and operate, maybe, and that coinciding with like our planetary state of being, like things are only increasing, like the solar flares reached all the way here in Appalachia, like that shit does not happen. Like, I don't know how this wasn't like worldwide news of like, alarm, alarm, hello, this is not supposed to be happening. But like the solar flares have been so intense that they've reached North Carolina. This is still considered the South of the United States. And maybe by culture rather than demographic, or like geographic rather. But, and I've been feeling that, like I've had like really interesting, like throughout this whole experience, I think what provoked the healing more than anything is I started to get sick, like chronic illness, chronic brain fog. Like I felt like I couldn't function. I had to double down on my self-care, supplements, blah, blah, blah. And then the emotional healing that was needed to be done underneath that. And that's when entered the relationship, and I was experiencing love, like unconditional love for the first time, and like consistency in terms of, you know, that it was an upheaval. It was a dramatic relationship because that's just been how I've rolled for all of my life. That's all I've ever known is drama and chaos, because that's all I ever saw. And so that's embedded into me, and so I hold space for that, and I magnetize that kind of energy. And so I'm learning to not do that, and that's what this whole process of these year-long endeavors of trying to heal and doing my damnedest. Like, I feel like I want to give myself an award for how much effort I've put in and all that I've gone through and all that I've been able to do on my own. And now I need more support. And so enter the Ascended Masters, maybe even enter in some type of temporary medication or supplementation, like re-entering that again, being very mindful with my food, bone broth, Irish sea moss broth, like teas, you know, all the allies, like call in all the reinforcements, you know, and consistency in the somatic exercises. I just got a 60-day program that was basically designed for people exactly like me, dealing with PTSD, complex PTSD, ADHD, neurodivergency. Like, I am that, you know, or I present and enact that, like that, you know. And so I'm coming into balance, and these tools have been really pivotal for me. And they really at first made shit worse, I think, because that's how imbalanced I was, and how I didn't even realize how many blocks that I had towards this type of material, or what these beings have culturally represented, what they've represented to me, unbeknownst to me. Like, I didn't even realize the embedded subconscious bias and adverse, like, no, and it had a lot to do with masculine. Like, I was just like, but that makes sense, I have a dad wound, you know, like opposing all authority or all masculine anything, you know, which is hilarious because I never thought that I was that person. I always felt like I like always have guy friends. I always have like, always had guy friends. I prefer men over women, and, you know, so I thought. And anyway, so I've moved through those blocks finally, and so here I am sitting in front of the Archangel Michael rosaries for overcoming a spiritual crisis, because I need to be honest with myself that, you know, of like, I struggle on a daily basis, you know, like, and I think I always have, but I just didn't know, because when you have done something all your life, how do you know that it's not right, or it sucks, or if it's not okay, unless you experience the opposite? And whenever you experience the opposite finally in your life, you actually experience peace, unconditional love, functional living, peace of mind. It's kind of like, whoa. Well, then what's all of this? My nervous system and my endocrine system and my hormonal reality and my brain chemistry has been wired for chaos and dysfunction and turmoil and sickness, really. And so this has been my job and duty for the last several years to heal myself. But I think I was just in a lot of denial. I just was in such denial. I was living from my ego, from reptile takeover brain, and I just was a high functioning stress ball and addicted to drama, and I just didn't even know, like, I couldn't relax. I mean, when it makes sense, whenever I look like down lineage from my ancestors, they were war survivors and PTSD. Like, my ancestors on at least my father's line, which has needed the most healing and has been the most sick, have been here the longest, funnily enough, in a lot of ways. There's one particular line on my dad's mom's side that was just like riddled with so much disease and dysfunction. When I did my ancestral lineage healing work through ancestralmedicine.org with Daniel Four, I wouldn't advise that, though. I wouldn't advise you open that up. Do your own work. I wouldn't advise you do ancestral lineage healing. I think it's a trap, honestly. I don't think that there's any ill intent. I don't want to get off track or off subject. I mean, because it got me to where I am, but I don't just do these invocations and decrees. You don't need to do all that bullshit and focus externally on all of those beings. You need to focus on yourself. That's how you heal. That's what I came to realize. I was like, y'all are gonna kill me. Focusing on you, you're sick. That's not how I heal, is focusing on the dead and tending to the dead. That's not how you heal. You heal by focusing on yourself and what you have life force for. And you have life force for your life. And I can hear my child just woke up, so I'm going to stop here, continue this conversation. Sorry there's no concluding thing, but if I could just wrap it up. For now, what we can talk about next in the next video is like the transits that I think that are really like highlighting this so deeply. And for me, and bringing this all up, and the whys and the hows behind it all. So hopefully that was enough of a concluding ending for you now to keep you hanging for the next one, because I'm really excited to share. Okay, bye.